No one was surprised that President Obama won his home state of Illinois on Tuesday night, but another race in Illinois in the 2nd congressional district was most unusual. U.S. Representative Jessie Jackson Jr. easily won re-election, even though he never campaigned at all. Jessie Jackson Jr. has been on a medical leave of sorts since June. First, he went missing, then eventually revealed that he was being treated for bipolar disorder. His constituents have not seen him since.
They know he is a disciplined, diligent, hard worker, and so now he has hit a spell of sickness, and hope they'll be as caring for him as he has been for them.
As Election Day neared, Jackson finally spoke to the people by robocall.
Hello, this is Congressman Jackson. For the past few months, I've undergone medical treatment to address several serious health issues.
Jackson's critics claim his exile has more to do with the federal investigation into his alleged misuse of campaign funds and his rumored involvement in the Rod Blagojevich scandal. Jackson vaguely referenced some trouble in his recorded message.
Like many human beings, a series of events came together in my life at the same time, and they've been difficult to sort through. I am human.
But on Tuesday, none of that mattered. Jackson cruised to victory as he convalesced in the Mayo Clinic, retaining his seat with over 63% of the vote.
I'm anxious to return to work on your behalf, but at this time it's against medical advice. And while I will always give my all to my constituents, I ask you to continue with your patience as I work to get my health back.
His constituents, for now, seem to be more than patient. So a most unusual situation, to say the least. Let's take a closer look at what it could mean with Lynn Sweet, Washington bureau chief of the Chicago Sun-Times. Lynn, good morning.
And good morning.
First of all, I think a lot of politicians would envy his campaign. One robocall and he gets 64% of the vote. But, I mean, what do we know about his condition currently?
Well, we know he's back in Mayo Clinic. He went back a few weeks ago. He's been suffering from and getting treatment for bipolar depression, and he has a bipolar disorder. It is said that some of the roots of this disorder is his gastric surgery that he had a few years ago. This is his second trip to the Mayo Clinic. And we know that he had been in a treatment facility in Tucson before that. But, you know, the diagnosis is there. He came back to Washington in September, and he was getting outpatient treatment. But then there was public sightings. People were staking out the house.
It's very odd.
This whole story is very sad as well as odd. Very sad.
And then there's the two federal investigations. What's the latest on those?
Well, actually, the latest is this. My colleague at the Sun-Times, Michael Sneed, broke the story that he's in a plea deal agreement with federal authorities in Washington over the alleged misuse of campaign funds. Now, we don't know if there's a deal yet, but we know that if it is, usually these kind of deals then usually would involve some kind of perhaps resignation. Then they'd want to talk about details. Can he still get a pension or health insurance or whatever? But often that's what a plea deal does include.
Now, I think your paper reported that his attorneys actually pushed the government to hold off on any kind of deal until the re-election, correct?
Yeah, we did. And that was a story that was also broke by my colleague Natasha Karaki, because it's just one thing after another for years now with Congressman Jackson. I don't expect everybody to remember the whole story, but he's had a shadow over him since the election of Barack Obama in 2008, where what started his trouble was when he started maneuvering to get appointed to that Senate seat.
Right.
He got dragged into that whole scandal involving now imprisoned Governor Rod Blagojevich.
If he is at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota on swearing-in day, what happens?
I could tell you that. I checked into that. You just don't get sworn in. That seat is vacant until you show up in Washington, get sworn in by the Speaker of the House.
All right, Lynn Sweet of the Chicago Sun-Times, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
And thank you.